Buenas tardes, bienvenidos a ¿Qué pasa, Mujer? Welcome to ¿Qué pasa, Mujer? Estamos aquí todos los domingos a las 4 de la tarde. We're here every Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Hoy tenemos una invitada muy especial. Ahorita les doy más información, pero estamos celebrando nuestra cultura este mes. Creo que este es el último domingo de este mes. Hoy estamos en enero 28 y el próximo domingo ya va a ser febrero. Entonces vamos a terminar este mes con cultura y el próximo domingo, que ya sería en febrero, vamos a tener nuevos invitados y vamos a seguir hablando de nuestra cultura. We're going to keep talking about our culture. Today is the last Sunday of the month. So next month we'll be talking about other things that have to do with our culture and who we are and what makes us Latinas or Latinos in the United States. So today we have a super special guest. Nicte is not with us. Maddie's not with us either. So we have a special guest, Velu Ochoa. Mark, you can go ahead and bring our guest on so we can get started because we don't want to waste any time. She's coming. Hola, Velu, ¿cómo estás?
Hola Viviana, muy bien. ¿Y tú cómo estás?
Bien, gracias. Bienvenida al show.
A ti, gracias por invitarme. Un placer.
Estamos muy contentos de tenerte en el show hoy. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything. We're going to talk especially a lot about Colombia today, but just in general, just our people and our culture and how the United States sees our culture, como los Estados Unidos ven nuestra cultura en Estados Unidos. Belú es colombiana, yo también soy colombiana, so vamos a hablar mucho de Colombia hoy. Pero unas cositas que quería decir en referencia de Colombia. Nuestro productor Mark nos va a mostrar una imagen que le dije que nos pusieran. Déjame le pido. Mark, can you put that image up for us, please? Esto es algo que se ve muy frecuente, ¿sí? Nosotros, porque los americanos dicen, oh, tú eres de Colombia, pero entonces piensan mucho en the District of Columbia o Columbia, South Carolina, pero quiero emphasize que Colombia lo escribimos con la letra O, no con la letra U. Y hay una campaña total con camisetas y todo, con tazas, con vasos que dice It's Colombia, not Colombia. So, con una O. ¿Qué quieres decir de esta parte, Belú?
Sí, lo que acabas de decir es cierto. Es una campaña que lleva mucho tiempo y yo hago varios videos en Instagram y en TikTok hablando de eso y pues sacándole un poquito como humor a la vaina, como decimos nosotros, pues de qué pasa cuando tú le dices a un colombiano Colombia en vez de Colombia y todas las reacciones que hay. Siempre hay como que la reacción de, ay, te tengo que volver a corregir, o si estás en un lugar donde te sientes cómodo, entonces sigues con la misma, sí, Colombia, solo para ser nice. Pero sí, si le preguntas a un colombiano cómo lo escribe en inglés, al menos es Colombia.
Sí, no sé, la tecnología mía creo que está un poquito atrasada hoy, por eso se ve como choppy, no está muy nítido hoy. Pero sí, en mi experiencia, especialmente cuando la gente me manda un texto o a lo mejor un correo electrónico, 90% de las veces yo los corrijo. Porque pienso que es importante corregir. A lo mejor lo tomo un poco personal porque soy colombiana, pero sí yo corrijo a la gente cuando hacen ese error. ¿Y tú los corriges?
Yo, yo tiendo a corregirlos en muchas ocasiones. En otras cuando, pues, no se da la oportunidad, pero sí, o sea, si me mandan y escribo, yo escribo de vuelta Colombia. Si me vuelven a escribir, sí, Colombia. Entonces, a
Sí.
veces no se dan cuenta, a veces sí se dan
Ujú.
cuenta. Cuando tengan la oportunidad ya de hablar más como tú, mira, se dice Colombia. Pero sí, como te dije, hago mucho de
Sí.
mi contenido es sobre eso, sobre qué pasa cuando a un colombiano le mandas un texto que dice Colombia en vez de Colombia. Y bueno, o sea, siempre también sacándole el humor, pero sí es una cosa que le da un poquito como de molestia a los colombianos, la verdad.
Sí, sí, sí. Y como tú dices también, hay mucha juventud que también ya de Estados Unidos que se ha acostumbrado a escribir Colombia con una U en vez de con una O. Entonces, también es como esa parte cultural de estos años últimos. Quiero que me digas un poquito, Belú, de quién eres tú. Yo sé que tienes muchos proyectos y vamos a hablar de esos proyectos, pero veo que eres, ¿cómo es que dicen en Colombia? Que camella
Sí, bueno, de todo, ¿no?
bastante. Muchos,
Eh,
muchos proyectos y trabajas muy fuerte. Dime un poquito
sí,
de cómo llegaste a iniciar los proyectos que tienes.
pues a ver, eso fue, digamos que yo no, yo me di cuenta hasta más tarde, ya más adulta, que yo era una creativa total, totalmente, o sea, de arriba para abajo, porque en mi historial académico yo hice fue ciencia y biología y estudios ambientales, pero toda la vida, y yo creo que también eso era más por la razón de que cuando tú ves en Colombia, o al menos en mis generaciones, ser creativo, ser músico o ser artista, no era algo como que te apoyaba mucho, ¿no? Te vas a morir de hambre, ¿qué vas a hacer con eso? Entonces, pues eso como que forzó un poquito como mi mano a decidirme ir como por algo más de ciencias. Y ya aquí tuve la oportunidad yo creo que también el hecho de que extrañaba mi tierra y extrañaba como la cultura me conectó con la comunidad de acá y tuve la oportunidad de hacer parte del grupo de San Washington, en donde hacemos vallenato y hacemos cumbia. Y ahora tenemos nuestras propias canciones, estamos nominados a un Whammy, que son los premios de Washington, D.C. Somos
Dinos un
ganadores.
poquito qué es el Guami.
El WAMI es una academia que te, digamos que te da la oportunidad de que sea tu trabajo musical reconocido. Llevan muchos años los WAMIs acá, son como los Grammys, pero WAMIs, Washington, D.C. Y es una oportunidad donde puedes
De
tú presentar
Washington.
tu proyecto musical y lo envías y te aprueban y ahorita estamos esperando ya, hay dos partes de la votación, la primera parte es pública, si avanzamos a la segunda etapa, entonces ya, eh, pues ya vamos como al jurado. En el 2021 fuimos los ganadores como mejor banda latina de los Wamis y ahorita estamos compitiendo otra vez como mejor banda latina típica del área. Entonces, y pues aparte de eso también envié mi propia música
Wow.
como solista, que también lancé este año, el año pasado a finales. Después de convertirme en mamá, decidí hacer mi propio proyecto solita y aprovechar que estaba aquí y escribir canciones y trabajar con mi productor. Y nada, y así teniendo la oportunidad de conocer músicos, también se creó La Marvela, que es un proyecto que yo pues le tengo mucho cariño, es un proyecto de mujeres tamboreras y pues representamos la música tradicional del Caribe en la forma de bullerengue, en la forma de cumbia, en la forma de tambora, a nuestro estilo, obviamente, tratando de honrar eh, pues los representantes originales de esa música. Y aparte de eso, ya pues, empecé a hacer más contenido. En mi trabajo también, pues que también tengo un trabajo 9 to 5, hago comunicaciones y redes, entonces decidí ya yo también crear mi propia marca, ¿no? Hacer mi propio branding y de ahí empezaron a seguir los videos de Instagram, los videos de TikTok. Y la verdad es que me divierto mucho. Entonces, lo hago porque me trae mucho, it brings me a lot of joy. Me divierto muchísimo, saco a la niña interior que tengo adentro que ya la tengo más que todo afuera, ya, ya estoy con la niña afuera. Y nada, y con mi último proyecto que se llama Latinas Be Like Us, que es un podcast en donde quise conectar con mujeres que están haciendo cosas hermosas aquí en Estados Unidos y espero también más allá de Estados Unidos eventualmente, porque me cansé de ver los mismos estereotipos de siempre, ¿no? De que la latina, que no hay ningún problema con esos trabajos, pero las latinas que solamente están en aseo, o las latinas que son tóxicas, o las latinas que están locas. Y pues para mí yo creo que eso es parte de cada una de nuestras culturas, o sea, cada cultura tiene personajes con ese tipo de personalidades, pero eso no es parte de nuestra cultura y tenemos mucho como por qué mostrar. Entonces de ahí salió Latinas Be Like Us. Llevo ya 12 episodios y ahí vamos.
Eso, dime un poquito, sí, yo les digo que ¿cómo se dice el término correcto? ¿Que camellas o cómo se
Sí,
dice?
se dice yo camello, pues camellar es como trabajar, ¿no? Pero tener como muchos camellos, no sé, como se dice todera, o sea, yo diría yo soy todera en muchas cosas, pero sí es, camellar es cabellar, trabajar.
Sí, mi mamá usa la palabra mucho que es berraca, como que es fuerte, como que
Sí,
todo lo que se le viene lo hace.
sí, sí. Y pues obviamente eso es un músculo que practiqué, ¿no? No fue que, o sea, mis papás, mi familia, mi mamá y mi papá siempre me dieron esa, de sentirme segura, confidence, pero yo creo que también eso es, uno tiene como etapas en donde no te va muy bien, en donde no tienes cierta, o sea, tanta confidence que de antes, y es como un músculo que vas tú entrenando. Y eso es como mi gol es más allá de la música y más allá pues de conectar con la gente musicalmente, es inspirar a las mujeres y también a los hombres, a todo el mundo, a, pues a seguir, o sea, sí se puede, la verdad que sí se puede y es bonito seguir sus sueños.
Claro que sí. Dime un poquito más en detalle el propósito o los videos que tú pones en TikTok y en Instagram en referencia de tu cuenta Velu Creativa. Cuál es el mensaje y por qué haces lo que haces en Instagram y TikTok solamente?
Bueno, por mucho tiempo como que estuve tratando de buscar como una marca y también para conectar con más colombianos y con latinos que estuvieran por fuera. Entonces, la mayoría de mi contenido es colombiano, pero pues la idea es que también mucha gente se identifique. Es muy bonito a veces cuando yo pongo algo que es muy colombiano y llegan y me dicen, sí, también hacemos así los italianos, o sí, también hacemos así los filipinos. Entonces es como un puente, es con hacer puentes y traerle una pues sonrisa a la gente. Hay mucha gente que me ha escrito por privado y me dice que muchas gracias, que les divierte el contenido que hago, que les trae una sonrisa a su día, que extrañaba muchas cosas que no se habían acordado de esto y empiezan también a darme ideas. Entonces, se ha creado una comunidad muy bonita y fue eso, es como eh, un día puse un video, se viralizó y dije, ah, bueno, entonces por ahí yo creo que es la cosa. Y empecé a crear más contenido por ahí y a la gente le gustó hablar de las cosas nostálgicas de Colombia, de nuestras edades, inclusive muchos más jóvenes también les gusta, pues de también traerle un poquito de picante a la situación de que siempre que nos dicen, ah, eres colombiano, entonces ya tú sabes Escobar, entonces, ¿cómo en realidad a un colombiano le gustaría contestar y a veces no termina contestándole así? Entonces yo me invento personajes en donde vienen y me preguntan y yo le correspondo pues con una palmadita, sí, que a muchos les gustaría contestar así. Y muchos no se atreven,
Suave.
hay muchos que sí, pero sí, es más como una oportunidad, un espacio para que los colombianos y la gente que quiere aprender más de Colombia se desahogue y aprenda más.
Yeah. So Tangi nos está pidiendo que hablemos en inglés un poquito, so la vamos a satisfacer. So Tangi, today we have, porque Tangi, she's one of our faithful watchers as well, one of our faithful fans. But Belu has several projects. She has an Instagram, she has a TikTok, anywhere on social media you could find her information. But she kind of really, I bumped into her Instagram account. That's how we connected, because again, I'm Colombian and I just found a lot of humor in the videos that she posted. Humor and truth, right?
Yes.
So, and even things like I left Colombia when I was 5 years old. So I've been disconnected for a long time. But the culture is very strong in me because of my mom continued to instill that in me, and I still it in my sons. But I just found it extremely interesting and unique because I don't necessarily see videos like yours anywhere else. They teach you about Colombia and visiting Colombia, or but not so much in a humor aspect like you do it, and you're teaching about the culture, but in a fun way. So we can follow her on Instagram, and we'll put some of her other projects up as well. But she's on Instagram, she's on TikTok. She also has so I want you to tell me a little bit, Velu, since we finished talking about Instagram and TikTok. I want you to tell me about your podcast, Latinas Be Like Us. Numero uno, like, how did you come up with that title of the podcast? And then number two, what type of guest do you have on your show?
I have, well, okay, so let's start with the title. The title, it was like several days of figuring it out. Like what? Like I want something like Latinas. And then just looking through hashtags, I saw that Latinas be like it was very popular, or is very popular. But like Latinas be like, I think it was like already, I wasn't like, I needed something more. So then I realized Latinas be like us, us can be anyone. And so Latinas, my guests are, they have different projects and they have different stories. I've had musicians, I have authors, I had mothers, I've had professionals, like, so I'm looking for different kinds of stories from Latinas, because I want people to see the diversity of our dreams and the diversity of our passions. We're all not the same. We're not a monolith. We come from different cultures, different heritages. So that's how Latinas Be Like Us was born. And one of the last draws, I think, that sort of like pushed me to finally do it was I saw a video of a girl that was she wasn't even she wasn't even a Latina, and she was just using the same stereotype of the toxic, the like the very possessive and the very crazy. And I'm just like, okay. And it went viral because that's what it's from. Like there's got to be a platform, there's got to be a way for people to learn about other role models or other Latinas that are not necessarily like that. And so it's been a blast. I've been having so much fun, just like getting to know all my guests, and just it's inspiring. So beyond me creating a platform to tell stories, it's an opportunity for me to sit down with someone and learn more about them, and see how their brain works. And that also it's something that I take from like with me in all my several projects. And so it becomes this opportunity for people to inspire each other, and that's the goal. And eventually at some point, well, right now I'm actually looking for funding, so that to make this sustainable. But I also want to at some point release a comic book with several of the stories to empower younger generations, and see that you can choose different dreams, and that it is possible. So that's where Latinas Be Like Us, and it's available everywhere. And you can learn more at latinasbelikeus.com, and we're everywhere: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, everywhere.
Yes. And it's on Spotify. And where else can we listen to the podcast? Spotify
It
and what else?
Yeah, Spotify, Apple, Amazon is on iHeart Radio too. It's on Samsung. It's on all the main platforms really. YouTube as well. Um, yeah, so you can find more information on my website, But it's really easy. If you type Latinas We Like Us on the main platforms, you find us there.
Very good. And how often are your episodes for the podcast? How often do you run them?
They're bi-weekly. So every Thursday at noon, every other Thursday, I mean, at noon we drop one. So this coming Thursday, we have a 13 episode of our podcast. So I'm really excited about that.
Tell me a little bit about your growth with the podcast. If you think back about episode 1 versus episode 11 or 12, have you seen a change?
Yeah, I mean, the first episode, I was super nervous and just like shaking a little bit and excited at the same time. And just it's when I listen, I could see like I can improve on these things and I can improve with these others. But also just like learning what some of the like spots in the interview that you can highlight. So it's been great because it's also a school for me. Because I'm learning on the go, and I'm very grateful because I have an amazing partner right now that is helping me with the edition and the branding. My best friend from high school, who we reconnected, and she's an incredible communicator, incredible radio expert. And so working with her has been a blast. And she coaches me and she tells me all things that can improve. And so I think it's also an opportunity for me to just learn something new, and it's been just super fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. What has been one of your like? I know you have several favorite episodes, but what's one episode that you like totally had a great time, or the topic was really fun for you?
They're really hard. It's really hard to choose. It's really hard because like I wear different hats. So when I talk to musicians, it's super inspiring and interesting because I get to learn like all the different ways that they think about music and they think about performing and they think about writing songs. But then I also, whenever I talk about with entrepreneurs or business owners, that's also something that I'm doing. So it's inspiring to learn. But I'll tell you, the last episode that I had was with Mayra Gomez Sanchez. She is the founder of Cultural Visionaries, and it was just inspiring to see her grow so quickly because she started with this dream like back in 2020, and now she is her own boss. And she was able to connect with We All Grow Latina, which is a community that is growing and is very well known in the West Coast, and helps empowers Latinas. So it was just like very inspiring to see. But again, like all of the stories, like the first story with Heidi Rojas, she's an amazing musician that is also growing very fast online, and she writes empowering anthems about Latinas and about moms. She has this song called Madre Creator, and it's just beautiful. And then I have like other musicians like my friend Laura Love, and it's just that my friend author that taught me about writing a book to empower kids. So it's hard for me to pick one, to be honest, but just because I remember the last episode, most recent, that's why. But I also fell in love with Carly Harvey, who is Afro Latina and Indigenous woman, and she serenaded me with a Native American lullaby during the interview, and I was just like, oh my God, this is beautiful. So yeah, it's just a way to create community for me. That's what's important to me.
Gotcha. Awesome. So now let's talk about La Marvela. Tell me a little bit more in detail. Like, I know sometimes when you're in your realm, like my realm is education or children, right? But when you're in your realm, I'm sure you feel this type of excitement that kind of penetrates your heart and your soul. So I want you to tell me, and I'm not a music person, and I'm not liberal arts in that capacity, but I want you to tell me like the feeling that you get of listening to our music and constantly doing the projects that you do with the music that you love.
Well, specifically La Marvela, it's sort of even a meditative kind of space. Like the drums bring you to this space where you connect with the earth and you connect with life and you connect with the world. And just like the sisterhood that we form in La Marvela, uh, just puts me in another, I guess, plano, in another dimension whenever we go and practice. And just like I sing a lot of bullerengue with that band, and it's very liberating. So it's very like a lot of the singing comes from your gut, like really, really from your gut, and you're able to just like throw it all out there and connect with people, and it's very liberating. It's really liberating, and also I've had the opportunity to have a really good teacher, Marley Perez. She is our director, and she has taught me to play some of the drum. I'm not an expert on the drum whatsoever, but just knowing how to hit the drum more correctly, it makes the experience even better.
So you know how to play like multiple instruments, or you're just a vocalist?
I'm mostly a vocalist. I know how to play some of the percussion and the maracas, but I'm mostly a vocalist, singer, songwriter.
How old is do you have a son or a daughter?
I have a son. He's 13 months.
Oh, so do you see any of the genes transferred over? Have you noticed any inclinations
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the
So there is
creativity, the music?
yes. So there is this group that I really like called Cimarron. They play joropo, and they're from from the Llano area, from the Orinoco area of Colombia. And they made this type of music. They elevated it into a global, I don't know, scene, and it's amazing to see. Whenever I play one of the songs, he goes, he gets so happy, and he starts dancing and like going in circles, and then he pays attention to whenever the lead singer is singing. So when she sings, and he's looking, and when the guitar is playing, he's looking. So I think there's definitely
Mm,
things going on there. And I performed while I was pregnant, and I played the drums, and I was playing some of the guitar when I was pregnant. So I think there is definitely some like artistic abilities there.
definitely. So we're gonna play a little clip from one of your performance at the Kennedy Center, La Marvela. So we're just gonna play a little clip so we could all watch it. But we're ready for that, Mark, when you are.
Vámonos. ¡Upaje! Ay, yo me fui, no volví. Dejé la tierra en que nací. A mi mamá yo la dejé. De la tierra en que nací. A mi papá solo quedó. De la tierra en que nací. Ay, hermanita, ay, hermanita. Ay, hermanita, ay, hermanita. No me olvidé. No me olvidé, no me olvidé, no. No me olvidé, no me olvidé, no me olvidé, no. Yo me fui lejos de casa buscando un mejor vivir, pero ay, cómo me duele no verlos sonreír. ¡Ah! Hermanita, hermanita, no me olvidé, no me olvidé, no. Hermanita, no me olvidé. Esa pena no se va, a mi mamá quiero abrazar, yo solo quiero llorar, con mi papá solía cantar. Hermanita, no me olvidé, hermanita, no me
So tell me a little bit about that. That was like amazing. I love it. Tell me about a little bit about that experience at the Kennedy Center and that performance.
Yeah, so we've actually had the opportunity to perform at the Millennium Stage live. That was during COVID, so when there were any shows going on, but the Kennedy Center and the arts were still trying to keep, music alive. So they asked us if we could do a performance of one of our songs, and that is actually one of our original songs. And it's called Añoranza. It was written by Alison Caro, who is the one of the other singers who's playing maracas. And yeah, we had the opportunity to record it with a project a couple of years ago, and it was just really fun. It's I appreciate that there is opportunity in the Washington D.C. area to show our culture and to show our music. So that was a really awesome experience. Thank you, Tanji.
So how did the group come together? How did the group come
The
together?
group came together. So we actually met through our other projects. So I was in the San Washington. They were in another project, and Marley and Allison, they sort of connected with me, and they introduced themselves and say, "Hey, we're looking to form an all women band, and we're thinking about percussion." And I told them I'm in. So it was the three of us first, and then we started bringing in more people, and it was pretty organic. And it's been such a blast to see La Marvela being so popular, not only within the Latino community, but within the Anglo community of Washington, D.C. People love it. Like, they love when the drums start and with the tambora that creates the bass. So people are always dancing. And it's very fun.
So ¿qué significa la Marvela? What does la Marvela mean?
Well, La Marvela, the meaning of La Marvela is marvelous in Spanish, but it was actually the combination of our names. So it was Marley and Allison, Velu, Laura, Luisa, all of the original members. And yes, I mean, I'm in Virginia. I want to go. Like, I'm always looking for opportunities to perform in Virginia because that's where I live. So I would love to go, whatever the Colombian community
Yeah, but
is.
we're like three
And
hours from you. We're south. So
we're
Lily's
we're
three
we're
hours from
down.
you going
We'll
south.
go. We'll go. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like we have gone. Like people, they have gone to Delaware. There's even been like discussions of like going to New York. So the girls will go. And but yeah, it's a combination of our names, and it was very funny because we came up with the name first, and it's like, but wait, what does La Marvela mean? And then it's marvelous, and like that makes total sense. And so that was the name, La Marvela.
That's pretty awesome. Tell me, how often, so during your daytime job, you do social media?
That's right.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I said. Social media and
Doing
communications.
the you do social media. That's what you
Yes.
Okay. So it's like right aligned with your entrepreneurship world, your personal one.
That's right. I mean, it allowed me to be able to create a brand, and to I already had all this expertise, so it was easy for me. I know that social media, for when you're an entrepreneur and when you're launching your brand, it can be a challenge for a lot of people. But I had that expertise already aligned with me, and so it also has allowed the bands, the San
Right.
Washington and La Marvela, to also have a presence and to have a running for people to know them, just being able to help there, because it is a full-time job. Social media and digital marketing is no joke.
It is. It is. And you're so consistent. You're so consistent with all your different platforms, and they're concise, and it's very well put together. So we'll make sure that that we follow you as well. Let's talk a little bit
Thank you.
about Griselda Blanco. Talk to me
Yes.
about Grisela Blanco, about Netflix, about Sofia Vergara playing her role. Tell me everything
Yeah.
you think about that whole project.
Well, first of all, I love Sophia. I mean, I find her inspiring, despite all the things that she's been through and all the sexism that um, she faced, and the jokes that they made about her accent, about like how like she's not able to perform anything. So seeing her be in that role, in a role that is completely the opposite of Gloria Pridgett, it's I mean, kudos to her. um, and but I know, like, and I've had conversations with Colombians. I was actually I just finished a rehearsal with my band, and one of the members said, like, he was watching Griselda, and he's like, but it's the same. It's like it's always the same story. It's always, like, it's always about the narcos and the cartel, and like we just like have so much more to tell and to share about our culture and our stories, that is kind of like, it makes you sad. It makes me sad, to be honest. And I don't think a lot of people understand that at least I've had these experiences, and a lot of people that have seen my videos have shared with me the stories of the fact that as soon as you say I'm Colombian, then the first thing that people say is like narcos, like Pablo Escobar, like drugs. And it's such a turn off, because I would never start a conversation like that with someone from here in the United States, let's say, and like, like pinpoint all the bad things that happen here, or like pinpoint all the bad things that happen in, I don't know, in other regions of the world. And so whenever someone starts like that, it's just not, like, where do you go from there? And I've had people, like, there was one time I actually got into an argument in North Carolina because a guy wouldn't stop uh with the joke, like, where is the drugs, where is the drugs, where is the, I'm like, I laughed the first time, and I'm like, this is not funny anymore, like, and please leave me alone. And so I had to, like, get mad at him, and then just pretty much like give him the finger, because he wasn't really like leaving me alone. And so it's just very disappointing. And so having shows to tell stories of the same people over and over again, I feel like it perpetuates the stereotype. But that said, like, the show was really well done. The acting and seeing all the actors, they're great actors. So the acting is top tier for me. I just wish that we could tell the stories of Totola Momposina, or Policarpa Salabarrieta, or I don't know, maybe Gabriel Garcia Marquez, or there's just so many, or Rigoberto. I know there is a show on Rigoberto, the cyclist, that was created by at RCN, and then it's on Prime. At least that's what my friend told me, on Amazon, but it's not available here in the United States. So she's watching it in Argentina.
Yeah.
But so, like, those are the stories that I wish people would see. Like Totola Momposina, for example, she has an inspiring story. Like, like, she was born in the coast. She is the representative of the cumbia and the Caribbean coast rhythms. I was reading, I made a video about it because I'm starting a series about Colombian people that you should actually, like, learn about. So I started with her yesterday. I learned that she actually had to flee in the 1950s from La Violencia. La Violencia was a conflict that happened between 1948 and 1958 between the conservative and the liberal party. A lot of people died, and she fled. Because of that, she moved to Bogota. But then in Bogota, she started her musical career thanks to her mom. And she comes from a family of musicians that spans 5 generations. Like, it's amazing. And so why not, highlight people like that? So those are my 2 cents. The video that I made on TikTok about it last night went viral, and people are like, well, like, a Crimea River. Like, the majority of the people agree. Like, I was just saying, like, when I was watching the show, and I only really pay attention to the first 3 episodes. It's 6 episodes, I think, but I pay attention to the 3 episodes. And then, other than that, I was just like in the computer and like doing work. So I just kept thinking, like, this is going to be another thing and now a woman. And then, so how many other experiences like that are Colombians going to have? Like, for example, like I have that coworker literally as telling me that he loves Escobar. And he wasn't talking about Warner Mora, who is the actor. He was talking about how he loves Escobar. And there might be some Colombians that do, but a big majority of Colombians will never actually tell you like, yeah, he was an amazing guy. And he was telling me that that coworker was saying that he wanted to go to Medellin because he wanted to go on a narco tour, which is also something that you can find in Medellin. So it's just sad because we just have so much more to offer. Like there should be more Encanto movies, in my opinion.
Yes, that's true. But I just think that also, like just the fact of sex, crime, drugs, just in entertainment alone, it just tends to sell better. But we do have a lot more things that we are made up of. Like in reference to the nature, the type of fruits and flowers that you find in Colombia that you can't find anywhere else in the entire world. I know, Velu, you talk a lot about the food on your social media platforms and how delicious our food is. I know one of your videos talks about how when you're dating a Colombian woman, your noodles start to taste like sancocho, because that's how flavorful our food is. And I just
Yes.
think that some of those pieces, like we don't hear about that much, but definitely drugs, crime and sex is like up here compared to the sancocho.
Yes, yes, but the good thing is that at least people do enjoy my videos. Maybe it's not Netflix worthy, but it is definitely like viral worthy on Instagram. So people do enjoy those stories, and you're absolutely right. The crime, the sex, and the drugs are what sells. But I wish we had spaces to share those other stories because they're beautiful. And I know that there are some stories on Netflix that are not necessarily about that. Like I just watched a show about a kid, and this is a true story about a kid who, for the longest time, wanted to be a baseball player, and he had a really bad back, and his bones were not really the best, but he persevered and he played professional baseball for 4 years uh, despite all the things that the doctor said. And so there are stories, there are opportunities for that. I just think that we need to give it a little bit more space.
Oh, definitely. And that's with any culture. It just depends on what it is that we're trying to sell and promote at the moment. But there's a lot, and that's one of the things that we talk about on the show all the time. Que Pasa Mujer is a platform that we have been given to that we can highlight some of those things that people aren't used to seeing all the time. Because I know even for me, when I first came to this country in school, always you're Colombian, hook up with the drugs like in your country, that would be like the first thing, right? So I learned to ask people like, do you know what a Colombian necktie is? Because I wanted to them to like realize like don't like punk me, because like we're powerful, right? So by me telling you, and a lot of people didn't know what a Colombian necktie was, right? But I just kind of used that was my way of maybe defending what they were telling me. So like I'm telling them like Colombians aren't punks, so like be careful how you handle me, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I just think that it's all about educating.
Yes,
You should do a video on the Colombian necktie.
I am going to.
That
now that
I,
you're
I, I
now
would
that
let
you
me
gave me the idea, I'm
yeah.
definitely going to do that. Mm. Yes, yes, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
think Colombia too. Uh, mhm.
no, no, go ahead.
Sorry if I interrupt. No, go ahead, because my technology is choppy over here. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I'm pretty sure that's another video that people are going to laugh about. Like I made a lot of the videos reference to coca or perico, and coca in Colombia is more than just what people know. Coca, it's like Tupperware. And so I made a lot of videos about the Tupperware, or like how we say Coca to refer to Coca-Cola. That's another video that I just made. And people love those because it's such a funny way to come back, like a really a funny comeback. Or the perico with like the cafecito. Perico is, another way to say drugs, or a specific kind of drug. And perico can be huevos, eggs with onions, and it can be coffee with black coffee with milk. So yeah, I mean, every time, like, my brain is just going and thinking about ideas.
So, how do you come up with your content? I guess that's a good question in reference to what you said. Do you wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and just come up with something? You just get up and write it down so you don't forget?
Well, I try not to because I love to sleep, especially now that I become a mom. But like, now I'm trying to be a little bit more organized. Like, they've been coming to me, and I first started like reposting the things that I had on TikTok, but I realized that my Instagram account is much more Colombian centric than my TikTok account. So in my TikTok account, I had more like like Latinos and Latinas. My Instagram account was more Colombian Hey. So what started I is that I did a shift in how I was creating content. I was creating content for TikTok first, but then I started creating content in TikTok for Instagram first, based on what people started talking to me about. So I get my inspiration from comments that people leave. I get my inspiration from messages that people leave, and then just because I've had experience already doing this for work, like my brain is already used to thinking, how can I use a certain sound to to explain something about Colombia, or to explain something funny that I want to say. And so I do a combination of like viral sounds, but I also do my own voice. And yeah, I honestly had no idea. To be honest with you, I had no idea that it was gonna be like people were gonna enjoy it. Like, especially the ones where I talk about the comebacks and how to reply to people. I had no idea that those were gonna. But I guess it was something that was like inside the Colombian, and like really wanted to say something, and it was like building and broiling, and finally someone said it out loud, and everyone's like cheering. It's like, yeah, somebody finally said it. And I was like, okay, I guess this is what people like, or I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna continue to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely needed. And I think we live in this world where things are so serious and so many bad things are happening that when we see something of humor, we kind of gravitate to it. Like, I know for me, if I'm feeling some type of way or emotional a particular day, I tend to listen to comedy on YouTube or Netflix. So I think laughter, and especially when you can like really connect to it, uh because I'm so Colombian, and so even some of the stuff that I've seen some of your videos, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, right? Or
Yeah.
I didn't see that other aspect of things, and I just think that that's pretty cool because it probably just comes natural to you, like you're naturally creative, and so it's just easy for you to do. And I think that that's the best place to be, because you're doing something that you're naturally good at. So you didn't go with the intentions of things going viral, they just went viral because you were in your element, and you're really practicing your gift.
Yes. Yes. And it's again, it's like it reminds me of when I was a little kid, and I used to like act in front of my parents, and like dance in front of my parents, and be funny in front of my parents. I just didn't realize that this was something that I was gonna do in front of like strangers, on a social media platform, because that concept didn't even exist back there. Tangi is saying that I should come up with my own
Right.
network.
What about Colombia? Or you should.
Why not?
Por favor, enséñanos un poquito de tu talento, Lily Matos. Well, I was going to ask you about your audience. I know majority of your audience, I'm assuming, is in the United States, but do you also get activity from other countries, including Colombia? Because you're speaking a lot of the times you're speaking in English, correct? In your videos.
Yeah, so I speak in English, but I put subtitles for people to understand in Spanish. They're like tiny at the bottom, so I don't know if people actually like realize that there's subtitles. But yes, so the majority of my audience is in New York, in Bogota, which is surprising. There is a lot of, I guess, people who used to live here, who learned the language and now live in Colombia, and just around the United States. And I have a combination of Colombians and like Colombian adjacent, so like married to Colombians or like had Colombian boyfriends or Colombian girlfriends and fell in love with the culture, or were born in Colombia like you and then moved to the United States, or were adopted and they're from Colombia and they're trying to connect from their root with their roots, or just like people that love Colombians and want to learn more about Colombians. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's that's the majority of, and I get a couple of estadounidenses here and there, and so that's also very fun just to see their
Yeah.
perspective and like how much they really like the culture.
Yeah, yeah, and you would be surprised, and I know in Washington D.C. there's even Northern Virginia there's a large community of Colombians. Where we live here, we live about 3 hours from you south, and we do have Colombians. And as soon as we hear somebody that is Colombian, like we get super excited and we want to like bring them to our circle. My mom even has a group of WhatsApp. They have their own WhatsApp group of just Colombian people that are in this area, and I love it because it's so united. And as soon as something is needed, like 10 people will respond to it. It is
That's
like totally
beautiful.
amazing to me. The unity. Hmm. I don't think that like when it comes to like social stuff, like going out to the community, they might not do stuff like that. But if it's done within the group, like people respond quickly. It's
That's
amazing.
very nice to that's very nice to have. I mean, I think community sometimes here in the US is lacking, and having that community of Colombians or non-Colombians, or like just having your community and feeling like you have support, it's very valuable and very much needed.
Definitely. With Que Pasa Mujer, one of the things that we always kind of talk about is the value of Latinos in the United States. So I just made the decision that every show, Mark, I'm always gonna say that Latinos spent $3.2 trillion just in the United States annually. So I'm gonna say that every single show, just as a constant reminder of how valuable we are to the United States, that we are spending all this money, right? So we have power, we have dedication, and we're giving our money to everyone, to Latinos and to non-Latinos as well. And so that's why I made it my business to find people like Velo to come on the show so that we can highlight all the things besides drugs, sex, and violence. That was my objective here, to be able to show the people that watch this network that we have Latinos from different countries that are contributing to the economic force of the United States. So that I so thank you for your time, Velo, and I just think that it is
Thank you.
amazing that you do what you do, that you do what you do, and it is when you guys watch her on Instagram and TikTok, you get a sense of trueness, and it's just so genuine, and like it's so real. And even if you're not Colombian, you laugh because you may not get the entire message, but you just laugh, and it's just very genuine. It doesn't look photoshopped.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate that.
I love it. So tell me, um, 3 years from now, how do you envision Velu in 3 years from now?
I mean,
2027.
so I'm putting it out in the universe now, and like really, like saying I'm trying to be better at this because I'm not. So even though I am, like I suffer from imposter syndrome, and I'm like I'm not that good. So, but no, I really want to put my brand, my name, Belu, out there, and like to be something big that people recognize, and that people recognize my podcast also, Latina Be Like Us, and be some brand. But above that, I want my name and my brand as Velu and Velu Creativa to be known, um, as a, as a good source of laugh, and as a source of like being genuine, and that you don't need to be photoshopped to be liked. So that's really it. Like put it out there, put it in the universe, and then get the funding. That's really the goal.
Definitely. Yeah, and that will come just because you're in your realm and you're passionate about it. So I think that's pretty cool.
Thank you. I
So we may
appreciate that.
see Velu again on our as a guest because she's super dynamic. I love her content, and we replay the show throughout the week on LinkedIn. So we'll make sure that we put your information up there as well. But we have enjoyed having you, and I wish you the best with all your projects and everything that you're going to be doing to get to your brand of Velu by 2027. Like it's going to be different.
Thank you, Viviana. This has been a pleasure. It's nice to meet you via Que Pasa Mujer. You're also a very berraca and inspiring woman, and I'm glad to connect. And let's definitely continue to work together and to see how we can, support each other, because it's all about that.
Definitely, definitely. I'm down with that. So at the end of every show, Maddie usually gives us a poem, but she's not here today. So Mark is going to play a poem from Maddie, and then we're going to go into our commercials. And then I just want to say thank you to our audience, Tangi, Lili, and everybody else that made comments and is watching us because we do value your time, and we just enjoy your interaction with us. And we are here every Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So we will be again here next Sunday with a new topic. But thank you, Mark, and we'll go ahead and get started with the poem, and then followed by our commercials.
My feels all day, well, since yesterday, so I'm just gonna read today. So click, click, pose. Look closely. Can you see the void beneath the surface? In the eyes, the empty spaces, loneliness, screaming, crying, losing hope, begging for someone to notice, barely hanging on. A smile. It's what happens right before the break. Before the beast tears off my chest, the constant battle with this demon who threatens to drown me whole. I try to loosen from his grip. I swim up to the surface, hoping to get to breathe. Pose. For a second, I try hard to forget how the weight of the world pulls me down. At night, I can't sleep. Nightmares on Elm Street. I stay awake thinking of ways to stay alive, yet I close my eyes. I lay in a postpartum state, so when the Grim Reaper finds me, his job is more than halfway done. I am done, but I survive. For some strange reason, I get to do it again. It's Groundhog's Day. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. They all feel the same. I feel the same exact pain. I cast a lifeline into the world in desperate mode. Click, click, pose. My brain, unsteady, like an elephant walking a tightrope. Scattered puzzle pieces that can't seem to make a coherent thought. I think of Chesley, attorney, spokesperson, Miss USA, who had her shit together and still she killed herself. From the 29th floor, she jumped. Depression knows no gender, socioeconomic status. Hurt is hurt. Some can voice it better. Others get lost in the waves. Most days,
I surf. It is on those better days I take selfies instead of asking for help. You never know what's been brewing when someone is in a dark place. So when you see those selfies, don't just click on the picture. Check on your strong friends.
What is the most beautiful thing about Colombia? What is its true beauty? People are everything. And while sailing a river that runs through the jungle becoming the sea, you can hear more than 65 indigenous native languages. How is a country not going to be beautiful when in it you can taste a different fruit every day of the year? Thanks to the hard work of our farmers who bring food to the table of Colombians and tables of the whole world. We are proud of our 3 mountain ranges, but much more of our cyclists who conquer them in the longest mountain peak in the world. Here, the wind brings an aura of progress. This same wind talks to 1,900 species of birds and tells them which tree they need to reach in order to be seen. Our beautiful islands emerge from 2 oceans, and from our islands, a new union is born. Look at our mountains, and look at the acres that remain to be cultivated. And speaking of green, breathe easy, because we are a lung of the world. We live in midst of the beauty that changes every day, where the past, the present, and the future coexist in every region. A generous beauty for everyone wishing to see it. Who comes for business ends up staying for pleasure. Who comes for pleasure finds business opportunities. This is our invitation. Come for the first time or come back from wherever you are and tour the country to continue discovering Colombia, the country of beauty.
We are sending you signals every day.
We are sending you signals every day.
We're sending you signals every day.
We're sending you signals every day.
I'll be feeling sad, but you're too busy to notice.
We are sending you signals every day. I'll tell you that I'm feeling afraid, but you'll just tell me everything is okay.
I'll get real angry about something, but you'll take it personally.
We are sending you signals every day. My grades will drop, and you'll yell at me for not trying.
I stopped caring about how I look.
And you didn't even notice.
We are sending you signals every day.
I don't see my friends anymore.
And you think it's good that I'm always home.
We are sending you signals every day.
I'll tell you I wish I could go to sleep and never wake up.
And you tell me to stop staying up so late.
We are sending you signals every day.
I need you to look.
I need you to listen.
And ask me if you can help.
Bájale a la velocidad.
Are just so impressed with them. Like I said, we've been with them for years. I will recommend and refer anyone to them. We stand by A+ academics. They're the best.
A+ tutorial really did help me with all my grades. They all went up when I came to this place. And I would say I recommend this school to everyone.
So it's a really good environment to be in, especially for me because it makes me look up to my parents.
If you have students that need academic help, A+ Academics is the place to be. A+ Academics, what a great place to go for academics.
It's just a really great place to learn.